Hi everybody, this is Mrs. Martin, and I'm coming to you today with some information about a website that may be helpful to you in this month's independent reading project. During the months of December and January, you're being asked to select an independent reading book, and while you read, consider what pictures you are building in your mind as you read. And then your challenge is to create a visual representation of that. So super simple to do if you're an artistic person because you can paint, you can draw, you can color, not a big deal. If you're like me, you need a little bit of artistic assistance, or if you prefer to work digitally, Adobe Spark is actually a really cool website that I think you're going to like. There's a free version and a paid version. We're going to stick with the free version, so let's get started. If you navigate to spark.adobe.com, even if it's the first time you've been here, we're going to select the Continue with Google button. And it's going to give you a dashboard that looks like this. Very quickly, I'll go through the basics, but really the best way to learn this is for you to click around and play with it and get comfortable with it yourself. So if you take a look at the upper left corner, there's a blue plus sign, and we're going to select that. And it shows you that Adobe Spark allows you to create different visual images in different formats. So the templates are something that you'll see as you pick each item. They have templates for each item that they offer. So that means somebody else has already made it, it's already laid out, it already looks good. You just need to tweak what it says or what the picture is. And so you always have that option. But you'll notice a lot of different options for what you can do in terms of the kind of visual you want to present. So let's start with Flyer. Flyer is actually a really simple way of getting information into one visual page. So kind of think of it like a Google Doc that's a lot prettier to look at. The templates are along this side. You will notice that some of them have a little gold tab on them, which means that they are, paid versions only. So you wouldn't necessarily use them. But if you were to pick one of the free ones, you can create from that template. And then it's just really an issue of double clicking and changing the text and double clicking to change pictures. But it's ultimately still really customizable. Okay. So you'll also notice that you can put photos in the background, icons, design elements, so pictures, little graphics. The backgrounds are really cool. You can make things really interesting to look at. Logos, you can actually create your own logo if you want. That's not necessary for this project, but it's kind of interesting. And then, of course, you can sort through their library of items. So whether you're using a template or you're starting from scratch, all of these functions are available to you. So that's Flyer in a nutshell. You'll notice that there's a possibility of creating an Instagram story. That really just means that it's similar to Flyer. It's still, it looks like almost like a doc. But it allows you something that if you were to screen capture it or download it, you can easily post it to Instagram. It'll show up great on a phone. So that's really what the difference is between those two. And you'll also see that there's also options for Instagram post and Facebook post, just very similar. It's basically the dimensions are there for social media purposes. So they give you something that's a shape that works with that social media platform. So these are all pretty similar. When things get a little more interesting is when we get into Collage. So let's say you chose to read a book about the 1960s, okay? And in that book, you have characters who, listen to the Beatles or wore certain clothes, listen to Bob Dylan. This typing in the 1960s gives me a lot of stuff to consider, okay? So if we're talking about a book like The Outsiders, those guys are obsessed with their cars. They are obsessed with music. So we can pick Bob Dylan. They are not very hippie. They're more greaser than anything. So they're more about chrome and cars. So we'll pick those. And then what it will do is it'll ask you which format you want to use it in. If you want it to be a poster, a landscape, this is really just about the shape of it. Okay, so we're just going to pick square because it's right there. And as this is loading, what it's going to do is it's going to format those pictures into a collage for you. So you'll see this looks kind of funky, right? So what I can do, if I want different things in different places, I can move them around. If I want to change the focus, Bob Dylan's the person I care about in that picture, not that woman, right? I can move things around just by clicking around, see? And it's really kind of cool. So like I said, to really get familiar with this, you've got to play with it yourself. But the collage function is a really cool way to create a visual representation that will work for your independent reading assignment. In addition, you have the option of creating a couple of things that may not work for the independent reading assignment, but they're just really cool additions to Adobe Spark that I think could be useful for you in other classes. One is to create a web page. Web page is kind of interesting because even if you choose not to publish it, you can share it with somebody else. And it can be a place where you lay out, different web links that you want them to see, or different pictures that you want them to see, or different information that you've typed up. So let's say I've read the book, That Was Then, This Is Now. And that is by the author S.E. Hinton. Okay. What I can do is I can actually add pictures from their stock stuff, just like I did in Flyer. But I can also pull them from other locations. So if you have a Lightroom account or a Dropbox, you can pull pictures from there. But I'm going to pull from my Google Drive because I actually know that I have pictures for That Was Then, This Is Now in Google Drive. So once it gets the permission to link to my Google Drive, you'll see it says connect to Google Drive. There we go. And I'm going to just type in That Was Then, This Is Now. And it's a little slow to load, but if you know the name of the image you want, you can find it pretty easily. So this is from a movie called That Was Then, This Is Now, which was made based on the book by S.E. Hinton. So yes, you could use that for your visualization project, but I don't want you just grabbing pictures from a movie. I want you to make them your own somehow. So this would probably be better served as part of a collage. But if I'm making a website for my own purposes, then what I can do is use that as the header, and then I can actually add text. That Was Then, This Is Now is about two boys who are like brothers. Okay? And so I can add, text information, obviously. The other things I can add video if I wanted to make a video. I can add a photo grid. So if I wanted to add a collage type situation, I can. I can add a slideshow. So if I've done some Google Slides work about this book, maybe I did something about the author or I did something about the characters, I can actually upload the Google Slides into the web page. So this is why I was saying this may not work for your visualization project, but this is actually kind of a cool thing to be able to use and share with others. And then across the top, you'll notice you've got settings that allow you to preview, present, or share this website without even publishing it, really. You can publish it if you want, but you don't have to. And just like with the other functions in Adobe Spark, you have the option of almost templates because these themes kind of serve that purpose. So that's for building a website. And then the last thing I'm going to show you is simply how to build a video in Adobe Spark. So the way this works is almost like the software Animoto, if you've ever used it. If I'm doing the book The Outsiders, now again, it starts off telling me, hey, here's a template. You can and should click around, see what those look like. This, however, is one of those things that I like to do from scratch. There is a 1-minute video that helps walk you through how this video app works. And I definitely recommend that you watch it. It's very useful, and it gives you the ideas about the shortcuts and the hints. You'll notice there's a microphone at the bottom of your screen right away. That's how you do voiceover. So if you are going to create something and you want your voice over it, perfect. What you'll also be interested in audio-wise is that in the top right, there's a music tab, and all of this is music that has been copyright cleared. So you can actually put music in the background of your project without it being an issue in terms of copyright, and super simple to add what you want. You can also add your own music, but just keep in mind that it should be school appropriate if you're doing a school project. The layouts you can change. But this is almost like building Google Slides almost, because you're going to be putting in information. You could put in photos by clicking up here. Once again, you can do the free photos that are available for you through them, or photos from your drive. It also allows you to take photos, which I'm not entirely sure you have the functionality for on your Chromebook. Some of you do, some of you might not. Chromebooks are always kind of interesting to work with. So like I said, play around with this stuff, see how you feel about it. The themes also are the way that you arrive at the font that you want. So when you pick a color, you can actually pick the color and then change the color a little bit. So if I'm choosing Flare, this allows me some options within Flare. If I like that font best, you know, I can work with that font and work with that background. So kind of interesting. So what basically happens is as you create different slides, you have basically accumulated enough of them to create an animation of them, which means it's a movie. So really play around with this. It's a lot of fun. I think we will probably use this when we work on the book The Outsiders. So, you know, if you want to get a jump on learning a bit about that, you absolutely can get in here and see how it works. Keeping in mind that you always have the option to use whatever software works for you, whatever programs you're most comfortable with. I just wanted you to see that there are other options out there. And like I said, this is a free technology. It's kind of interesting, something to play around with. And it just gives you more options than your Google apps. So if you have any questions about this, please feel free to send me an email, lmartin@sufferincentral.org. And, you know, have fun. Enjoy.